Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. Coming up in this episode, the Hyundai Tucson gets a work-ready twin. We've also got a brilliantly cute new city car in the shape of the Suzuki Swift, but can the small hatch compete with its larger rivals?
Plus, is it a throwback to yesteryear or a new model? Find out about the Morgan Plus 4 later on in the show.
That's all coming up. First though, the news.
In a decision to go against the vast majority of automakers, the British government has ruled out more EV purchasing incentives. As part of a recent report by the House of Lords Environment and Climate Change Committee, several recommendations were brought to government relating to increasing the number of new electric vehicles on UK roads. A reintroduction of the plug-in car grant, which ran from 2011 to 2022, providing consumers with up to £5,000 of subsidies when buying new plug-in cars, and a reduction of public charger VAT from 20 to 5% were both ideas voted against by politicians. The vote comes just after the government reiterated its ZEV mandate, requiring 22% of all new cars sold by manufacturers in 2024 to be zero emission. This number will grow with each passing year. But as EV demand drops, many industry experts are warning that targeted grants and incentives are needed to stick to the said target.
A few weeks ago here on Auto Mundial, we took a look at the recently refreshed Hyundai Tucson, now available around the world. Along with the large SUV, the South Korean manufacturer also unveiled this, the Santa Cruz, equally sparkling with 2024 newness. Visually, it's clear that the Santa Cruz is an adaptation of the Tucson, with an open bed to create a body shape ever popular in the US, a pickup. Though in its current form, Hyundai does not name it as such, preferring the term sport adventure vehicle, providing storage for all your outdoor activity equipment. Much like the vehicle upon which it's based, the new Santa Cruz retains its stylish parametric dual front end, blending headlight and grille, but on this beefier pickup, that design is enhanced with a more robust look. According to Hyundai, the new SAV gets greater off-road capabilities thanks to larger all-terrain tyres, increased approach angles and plenty of reinforcement on the XRT specification. So the more purposeful design is indeed of its credentials. Powering the latest Ford Maverick rival is a 2.5-litre four-cylinder with 191 brake horsepower in its entry-level version. Slap a turbocharger on it and 281 brake horsepower and 311 foot-pounds of torque mean the Santa Cruz will tow up to 2.2 tons. Meanwhile, the H-Track all-wheel drive system ensures traction even on dust. The cabin benefits from the more relaxed Tucson's creature comforts with a very similar design and all the tech that you would expect. Dual 12.3-inch displays spreading across the digital cockpit and center console get phone connectivity and all the controls needed for activities. Even the rear seats get relative luxuries with cup holders and armrests in this model, blending the SUV and crew cab pickup. Ready for surfboards, camping trips and off-road adventures, the Santa Cruz will hit the American market this summer. And whilst Hyundai is keeping pricing close to its chest, we expect the new model to sell for around $30,000 in entry-level specifications.
Stamped to the boot lids of no less than 5 generations of Suzuki subcompact here in the United Kingdom, the Swift name is known for its cute shape and charming looks. In fact, the model has been available to UK motorists for over 40 years, since it first hit dealership forecourts in 1983. But it was in 2004 that the Swift became its own product worldwide, a nameplate that has since seen 3 generations and sold over 9 million examples. At least that was the case up until recently, as a Mark IV has now been revealed, sporting bolder looks and more refined hybrid power. Whilst retaining the same 12-volt figure as the outgoing car's system, hybrid assistance in the 4th generation of Swift is both lighter and more powerful. Equally as redeveloped is the 3-cylinder engine that powers this new compact Suzuki, bringing improved fuel economy. A grand total of 1.2 litres give the citygoer its 80 brake horsepower figure and uprated torque. The list of noticeable changes that still retain an air of the outgoing model continue to the outside. The new 4th generation is very much in keeping with designs of the past, fitting within the same compact dimensions. But more muscular styling and the illusion of a floating roof make the car look both taller and slightly wider than its predecessor. Inside, there seems to be a lot going on across the dashboard with its numerous vents, panels and blending materials. Not to mention the tall and potentially intrusive 9-inch infotainment screen. On the plus side, the flat-bottom steering wheel and analogue gauges hammer home the Swift's traditionally dynamic character. Sure, the seats appear flatter than a park bench, but you get the sense that this cabin inspires a fun time, even on dull inner-city commutes.
A Super Mini with what we would deem a less cluttered cabin, however, is the Vauxhall Corsa. In 2024, guys, the hatch gets an organised cabin with a more traditional solution to the Swift's layered dash. A slightly larger 10-inch infotainment display gets the same system as other Stellantis products, while seating appears more bolstered than on the Swift. The Vauxhall also gets a significantly bigger boot than its Japanese rival, with 309 litres to the Suzuki's 265, whilst legroom is also more generous in the Vauxhall. That being said, the Swift has always been on the smaller, cute end of the compact market. Recent Vauxhall models appear to have stepped up the drab look of the past, getting a refreshed, forward-looking appeal, and the Corsa is no different. The result being a 4-door hatch that may well stop pedestrians in their tracks. Powering the Swift Stellantis Nemesis is a 100 brake horsepower 1.2-litre turbo in entry-level trim levels, whilst power grows to over 130 brake in hybrid-assisted top specifications. For its more spacious cabin and additional power, the Vauxhall Corsa demands a £1,000 premium over the new Swift's $18,700 starting price.
But despite the Suzuki's overly stimulating cockpit, cheap and cheerful may be the way to go on this occasion. Little will beat the joy of spotting such a cute design reflecting in shop-front windows. Famously a fun car to drive throughout its history, Suzuki is going out of its way with the new Swift to offer a variety of bright paint colours whilst continuing to offer a manual gearbox. As most city cars opt for less involved autos, those looking for driving dynamics will have a field day in the Swift. Keeping day-to-day driving lively, we look forward to the new shape Swift's success throughout the coming months, whilst a faster sport variant is surely also on its way soon.
After the break, open-air Morgan Motoring makes everything better on days like these.
Welcome back. Coming up, Kia attempts to inject life back into the American saloon market with a handsome bit of kit. But first,
Previously a fun sports coupe livening up the sedate Mark IV Fiesta's chassis, the Ford Puma has since 2019 become jumbo-sized in crossover form. But despite its overhaul, the model name has remained popular, reaching bestseller status last year. And now getting a facelift, the Blue Oval will hope to build upon that success. As with most modern facelifts, the Ford Puma's tweaks mostly come on the inside. Surrounding the driver is, as Ford describes it, a sports car-style cockpit. Though with the blocky layout of screens and air vents, as well as the almost square steering wheel, we wonder if the game Tetris is the real inspiration here. 12.8 inches of instrument cluster display sits behind the wheel, whilst the smaller 12-inch central screen gets the latest Sync 4 infotainment system and 5G connectivity. Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Alexa assistance, wireless phone charging, and a cabin full of speakers are all available, as are a plethora of driver assists. With little to note outside regarding styling changes bar a softer, less cluttered overall design, boot space is unchanged from the outgoing car. There's plenty of storage for shopping or a trip away in the 456-litre Chasm. One major change on its way later in the year as part of the Puma's touch-up is the addition of a fully electric model, the Puma Gen E. But whilst we wait for that, the compact crossover's slightly redesigned bonnet hides a small EcoBoost engine with 48-volt hybrid assistance. The 1-litre unit is good for over 150 brake horsepower, with a more energetic 167 brake horsepower ST power shift tune also available. With Ford already taking orders for the new shape Puma, the entry-level power figure is yours from £25,790. But fancy a fun-loving crossover with ST power and you'll be looking to spend a little under $34,000.
Here in the UK, if you say the word sedan, it won't be long until you're corrected by an outspoken enthusiast. Yet despite being the correct term to describe a saloon car across the pond, you won't get a much better response stateside. In fact, the sedan is very much a dying breed in the land of the free, with SUV and crossover body shapes taking claim of the market. But that isn't stopping the odd brand from continuing to fly the flag. One of which is Kia, with this, the brand new K4. Replacing the Forte in the South Korean manufacturer's range, the K4 is an elegant sportback with sleek yet aggressive lines. The K4 is bolstered by several styling cues from other Kia models, but we're particularly keen of the rear windows, intricately criss-crossing, and the sharp boot lid. Under the aggressive attire lies somewhat less impressive underpinnings. Powering the majority of entry-level trims is the same 2-litre 4-pot that gave the outgoing Forte its 147 brake horsepower. Higher editions get 190 brake horsepower from a turbocharged 1.6, with both units sending power through an 8-speed auto. This new Kia's form-over-function persona continues inside, with an elegant cabin design including cool contrasting upholstery designs and a nicely integrated dual 12.3-inch screen. Heated and ventilated seats, a premium sound system, screen-controlled aircon and infotainment, with all the phone mirroring features you'd want, build up the spec sheet. The addition of a sunroof will give the cabin an airy feel, and despite the sloping roofline, headroom is among the best in its class. Meanwhile, the K4 should have just about enough legroom for most adults, thanks to a longer wheelbase than its predecessor.
Hoping to offer just as comfortable an interior will be the Volkswagen Jetta, a staple of the American sedan market. Most recently refreshed in 2022 with a midlife facelift, the 7th generation of Jetta is far from as sparkly and new as the 2024 Kia. But to become a popular entrant, the South Korean car will have to take on the established German. Lacking the frills of Kia's upmarket styling, the Jetta is a stark contrast with its function-first focus. As such, it gets a far more conventional cabin shape with a bezel covering the instrument cluster, more monotone trim, and greater use of plastics. Slightly shorter and narrower than the Kia, the Jetta's passengers get a marginally smaller cabin, but offering just as much to keep occupants happy, we doubt many will notice the difference, especially with the sunroof letting in just as much light as that of the K4. Functionality features within the either 6.5 or 8-inch screen, depending on trim levels, are wide-ranging, with Bluetooth connectivity and phone charging coming as standard. Those models with the larger display get the brand's latest MIB3 infotainment system, with options to configure Wi-Fi hotspotting and Amazon Alexa assistance. Approaching the end of its current life, the 8th generation of Volkswagen Jetta is reportedly on its way, and rumours suggest it may even be making a trip across the Atlantic. If that does happen, we hope the stylish Kia also joins us for a similar battle on the old continent.
In the US, however, and whilst the Kia's price is as yet unknown, both models should start at around $20,000. The Volkswagen Jetta in its most basic, cloth-seated variation is available from just under $21,500, whilst we expect Kia's K4 to retail between $22,000 and $30,000.
Wind in your hair, sun on your skin. The thrill of gliding through turns and being at one with the 6-speed. With the British summer fast on its way, surely this is the perfect time to jump in a drop-top sports car and enjoy life. And what better car in which to soak up a few rays of UK sun than an eccentric design by British carmaker Morgan. Yes, the manufacturer best known for continuing to use wood in its chassis far longer than anyone would have thought has just released its latest model. Though take a look around the all-new Plus 4, and much like the rest of the brand's range, you wouldn't believe it to be from this century, let alone this year. And this is the beauty of the Morgan design in 2024. Sporting elegant styling harking back to a simpler time in motoring, yet making the most of modern underpinnings and better yet BMW internals. Powering this classy, seemingly coach-built motor is a twin-turbo 2-litre inline-4 of BMW design. Mated to a choice of either a 6-speed manual or 8-speed auto gearbox, the Plus 4's 255 brake horsepower may not sound a lot in today's world of 400 brake hatchbacks, but weighing just over a tonne means 0 to 62 takes just over 5 seconds, whilst the Plus 4 will rev out to 149 miles per hour if given the room. Focusing on the pleasure of the drive, it sounds like an excellent formula on paper. In fact, driving feel is reportedly enhanced in this newest Plus 4 thanks to overhauled suspension components, aiming to provide a better feel of the road. So Sunday drives tackling mountain passes should be where this car excels. Then again, patrolling the congested streets of your local city with onlookers gawking at your 21st century classic will also surely be a strong point for the Morgan. Retaining the overall shape of the original 1954 design with its waving wheel arches, horseshoe grille and elongated bonnet, the new Plus 4 does still get a look for the modern day. LED tech burrows itself into the ye olde headlight design, so though the Plus 4 keeps the protruding frog-eye face, driving at night will not be as challenging as the same ordeal in a true old-timer. In addition to exterior embellishments, the cabin also gets some modern comforts. from the Sennheiser sound system and its so-called hidden speakers alongside mood lighting and an LCD screen, all whilst trying to retain the old-school look. We can commend the efforts to blend old-time styling with new-age infotainment, but it can feel like Morgan is bragging about discovering fire in the 21st century. A BMW drivetrain surely means the manufacturer's 3-year warranty is a simple courtesy. Though built in a shed somewhere in England, we do think it's probably a good idea to keep hold of the paperwork. Then again, if something does go wrong, you'll get the true vintage roadster experience of fettling in the garage on a Sunday morning. For your summer thrills, the new shape Morgan Plus 4 is available to order now, with the first examples passing through production as we speak. The latest model from the British sports car maker is available from £62,500.
Well, that's all we have time for this week, but do join us again next time as we head to central London for an afternoon fueled with automotive lust at Salon Privé.